Got a few emails about portmanteaus for game genres. Anna writes, I'm only 13 minutes in episode 95.
No, we missed a big one.
Yeah, we missed a huge one
that people were super mad about.
Hey, we were right there. We were talking about the fucking genre, too.
But Anna wants to offer Balatro.
Oh,
okay.
I like that. I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
Balatro instead of deck building roguelike?
Well,
or specifically ones based on previous, like...
I think it has to be
casino
Balatro-likes.
Yeah, I mean, Balatro is big enough that you're starting to see games advertise themselves against Balatro.
Balatro-like.
Yeah, there's a lot of games actually advertising.
Right.
I think the core to me, what is it called? Balatro. It's a little hard to say is the only issue.
Balatro.
You kind of fall over the og part, so that's one note. But the key for those, it's like, because it's not just a deck building roguelike. I think it's specifically one that is based on an existing, it doesn't have to necessarily be gambling, but an existing real world, like tactile game or interactive item.
Right.
And by that, I mean, like, there was one that, I'm going to blank on the names of all these games, so like apologies to the people that made the games. I can't remember the name of it offhand, but there was like a Scrabble one that I played that was like, it's Balatro but Scrabble. And then there was like one that was, I guess it was still just, it's kind of like a word game, but like you were birds. It's like Balatro, but like it's birds and words kind of thing. So it's like, and then the one that's coming out from that one, I want to say the publishers, the people that maybe published Mouthwashing, the slot machine one. That one looks super rad, and it's like, well, that's based on like the existence of like a slot machine. Like, it's a real like life, thing that you can do. So I think that's to me, that's what specifically makes something a Balatro and not just like a deck building roguelike game.
Yeah. It has to be like, there was that other one, the blackjack based one, the Dungeons and Blackjack or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember the name too, but that would kind of, which is funny because that one was definitely, I believe the dev said like that it's been in development for a long time. It just happened to come out after Balatro.
Yeah. The Scrabble one was OMG Words, which frankly I was not that hot on it, but like if that piqued your interest, obviously like go pursue it and check it out. And then the slot machine one that's coming out is called Clover Pit.
Oh, sorry. Dungeons and Degenerate Gamblers is the name of the blackjack one, yeah.
Also, soulsborne was the term.
The soulsborne was the one where
Dark Souls.
Bloodborne fucking circled
Generally
around.
speaking,
Wait, hang on. What's Soulsborne doing that Souls-like is not?
Soulsborne refers to the canon of FromSoft games.
Yeah.
Souls-like is the derivative or influenced works.
Yeah, okay. I will say, just to sort of, counter that, like, oh, you don't remember? The streets are not saying Soulsborne. They're just not.
Streets.
They're just not.
When's the last, like, streets and
people aren't saying Soulsborne. Like, they're not. It's kind of giving, like, actually, it's Frankenstein's monster. Like, okay.
So the stuff, you looks like you guys spent a lot of time on this stuff, right? Streets don't care about that.
Yeah.
What?
The streets don't
They
care.
didn't?
I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah, the man on the street. I'm on the street, and people are saying just Souls-like. People even calling like games that are from FromSoft Souls-like, even though it's like, well, it's my game. It's like, yeah, but that's not. That the culture has determined that it's Souls-like. Soulsborne. I get it. You liked Bloodborne. I get it. You like Bloodborne. I get that you want more. I get that you want the frame rates.
Here.
I want that for you too. But
and it's coming to Switch
it's kind
too.
of honestly like the way like people talk about Bloodborne.
I take it.
It's kind of giving Metroid a little bit. Like, I know you love it, but people don't like. It's obviously like it hasn't happened.
What?
It hasn't happened.
What do you mean?
Like, it hasn't happened.
What do you mean it hasn't happened? What are you talking about? It did happen.
So why is it? So you're saying the streets don't like Metroid?
No, well, actually, streets don't like Metroid. I think there's more love for. I mean, they don't.
What
like,
streets?
it doesn't sell. It doesn't sell.
What block are you on?
It doesn't sell. We all like. I love Metroid, and I think it's a fantastic game. I think it's one of Nintendo's best IP, but it doesn't sell. And I don't necessarily think Bloodborne is like the Metroid of FromSoft, but it's just one of those things where there's clearly a passionate audience. There's clearly like high quality in the game, but yet you're left wanting, and like that just is what it is.
Yeah, because they won't give me any more. You can't sell it if they won't sell it again.
Yeah, but like, why is that? Like, I don't know. They don't seem to care as much as everybody else does.
But
Like,
we'll put out a what is that? What is that? That shitty open world zombie game, Days Gone. Everyone clamoring for Days Gone to
These takes
return.
got so spicy. I don't know about it. Like,
But, like, I think that's part of-
like Elden
but I
Ring
think
changed the
that's part
economy
of why-
video games websites 3 years ago.
I think that's part of why we don't hear, like, I think the people that love Bloodborne obviously love Bloodborne, but I just don't think, I think there's a reason we don't hear Soulsborne as much as, like, we hear Souls-like.
Metroid Dread.
Maybe it's because Souls comes before the Born part, and it's just that? I don't know, but I don't hear Soulsborne as much as I hear Souls-like.
Well, yeah,
It is
because
true.
it's
It
a
is-
bigger.
you know what,
It's a bigger pool. It's
There
a
is
bigger
maybe
pool
a point
again.
here where it's like, it is true Bloodborne folks care a lot about Bloodborne.
Yes.
Because we're mistreated.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like what's happening to you, but you kind of end up in this weird situation where you're like,
Jesus Christ.
the longer it goes on, the more like loud it kind of is, and it's just almost become like a meme.
But
at
also,
this
it's like we're
point.
sick of hearing about your Bloodborne feelings.
It's a little
Oh,
silk
they're not
songy,
valid?
you know? Like
They're not
it's
valid?
not valid. It's just that like I
Not
think
valid,
we
but
heard
there's
what we
other-
needed to
there's
hear.
Other games out there.
Like what?
There's lots of other like.
Like what?
It's difficult.
Lies of P.
Yeah,
I do like Lies of
that's
P.
a great point. Lies of P is a
It got
great game.
easier
and
again.
is
Shout out
the
to Lies of
closest-
P.
Lies of P is the
closest thing
closest
you're gonna
to
get
a
right
Bloodborne
now.
sequel we have gotten, which is why that game. And you know what? That game was a massive fucking hit.
It's just one of those things where like again, it's not a shade to the Bloodborne community, but the longer time goes on, like it's like you guys have your numbers. And time keeps moving, and you're still at the restaurant. You get that Taylor Swift song. It's like,
Yeah.
help!
Jen's
I'm still at the
pretty
restaurant.
Metroid
confident
Dread.
about the
Hold
other
on.
parts of her podcast empire. Just ready to alienate the remap audience. Although who knows? Maybe the reaction will be like, finally, somebody fucking says it.
It's not like it's not an indictment on the game or the people that like it. It's just like the reality is the further you move from
Patrick looks
its
pretty attacked.
peak
there.
of relevance, the more isolating it kind of becomes. Like as a community, like you're not gaining people necessarily.
want
Because
the
it's
shit-
not. It's not.
But that's why they
more
need to
stuff.
remaster
people.
so that they can.
That's the whole point.
It's-
That's why
I
was
get
so
that, but
mad.
but you don't have that, and that's why like you just get further isolated. Like I'm not saying it's fair or that's right.
So
It's just
Bloodborne
what's
fans
happening.
are like the Fae, and they need a remaster so they can steal human children and get more Bloodborne
Sure.
fans.
That's fine.
Okay, got it.
yeah, like it's
I'm
just
out
kind
here
of.
playing Elden Ring called Dark Souls 4. I've played that before. Give me
Yeah.
another taste. Oh, it's big.
But I think that's why, like that's why I think Soulsborne maybe has like fallen to the wayside because it's like back to our conversation on genre. The thing that ends up running with it is the thing that kind of ends up being like relevant in a more through-liney way, even if it's not like the originator. Like obviously, like Bloodborne is part of that from like a genre perspective. But I think the reason it's interesting that we didn't mention it, and I don't think it's just because we forgot. I think it's an element of it, of course, because like Patrick, you love Bloodborne, but like I haven't heard Soulsborne as a phrase nearly as often as I've heard Souls-like, which I get. You're like it's because it hasn't, resurfaced. But I think that also means the conversation changes around the genre as a result of that lack of resurfacing.
I thought we were friends, but
Wow.
You know what? We had a good run. I feel like we have some. I'm just gonna repost that picture we took last year at SGF and be like, I'm back with my friend Patrick. And no one's gonna remember that it's
2025, just out of
Me and-
frame.
Holy
me and Pat hanging out.
So, hang on, Liza P. Is that French?
No,
No.
South Korean.
Yeah.
No, but I mean like the vibe, is it sort of like it's?
The setting isn't it like
Is it like Italy?
I'm scared.
I can never remember.
London. I don't know where this place was at.
The songs are in French. No.
They have French,
No,
okay.
it's the setting is like French inspired.
Okay.
If not, I don't think it actually takes
But
place. in
Pinocchio's
France.
Italian, right?
They're right next to each other.
They're basically the same thing, honestly.
Yeah. Catherine de
God.
Medici was Italian, but she was Queen of France, I think.
This
Something
is
like
kind
that.
of it's not made in France, but this is kind of a Claire Obscure situation. Like there's a lot of French in.
I'm just saying, like we're.
So
in
I
the
should add it
era
to my
where-
French pile of just like what if I just kept playing French games?
Right. This is.
I'm pretty mad. Well, they're introducing
This,
new.
this is another Paris baguette situation.
What?
Do you know Paris baguette?
Like
I don't think
Paris?
so.
Your friend of yours?
Paris baguette, like the bread.
The store.
Parisian.
the-
Sorry, what? There's a
The
store.
Oh,
chain.
no. Paris baguette.
Everyone-
Oh, we
everyone
have one, I
Google-
guess.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. This looks familiar.
We need another pain quotidien.
Paris Baguette is a South Korean company.
Oh,
Is
interesting.
that why Liza P is obsessed with France?
South Americans,
Everyone can be a Francophile.
South Americans too, but South Koreans do have this sort of like side fascination with the French. Like Paris Baguette exists because of this cultural thing.
Oh.
Where they're like, yeah, French bread and like French cuisine is like all the rage, and therefore we made this chain that broke containment into the States about quote unquote French breads, but it's not really French bread.
3,700 retail stores in South Korea.
Yeah.
How many in the U.S.?
200.
Okay.
Yeah, they're like, it's small.
We have-
I've
have at
been
least
to
3
Paris
locations.
Baguette.
They
Yeah.
have a
Go to
store
fucking
in
Tata and
France.
Get your life right.
They have a Paris Baguette in. Oh,
It's like Euro Disney.
Can
That's
any
so
French listeners
funny.
or French culture?
Patrick, you're gonna be over there. You can.
I'll go.
Like, you have to remap.
have to go to a Paris
investigate
Baguette.
the Paris
Wait.
Baguette.
And then wait, you have to like for TikTok or for social, whatever, just like a little vertical video. Can you do? I'm gonna get me a New York slice, and then you run into the Paris Baguette for a slightly more modern sitcom reference, but not as modern as like. I really need to just watch Abbott Elementary. Is the problem?
What if you
I've been
hold a
driving
little
that for a
lab
while.
mic in front
I
of
heard
you,
it's good too.
do some man on the street interviews
Yeah.
in Paris, who
I've got some. Right over
Parisians notoriously friendly.
Especially
they
to Americans
love talking to
right now,
people
right?
in English
Yeah.
instead
I think
of French.
I think right now,
They love talking to other French people.
Yeah.
So you could ask I bet people would love to make content about like what do Parisians think about Paris Baguette.
okay, I'm on it. Content, lock it up.
The point is, we're in a Francophile era here, and I think we should embrace it.
Goodbye, Samurai Summer.
What if we
Hello.
could combine them? I don't know
Sen-
how.
Sen
If only
Summer?
like. What if? I don't know. We could just do some like fun little like. We could basically like do a mashup of Dumas and The Last Samurai, and that'd be fun, right? Like the man in the Iron Mask escapes and is blown off course, and around the Horn of Africa, and ends up in Japan. And he becomes a samurai, and then he shows back up. And now everyone's like, oh my goodness, you're so fashionable, and you're on the cutting edge of design because you've seen Japan. And so, like, all our understanding of, like, the aesthetic of everyday objects is completely transformed. But now it could be because, like, that's not the man in the Iron Mask. That's the Count of Monte Cristo. Sorry. I was getting my unjustly
Different.
imprisoned Dumas heroes confused.
Wait, are they both? My brain definitely thought those were the same person.
No, Man in the Iron Mask is Louis the 16th or maybe the 14th. I don't know. Point is, he's the rightful king of France, but there's a secret twin. To solve the succession problem, they tossed one of the twins in a prison, put him in an Iron Mask because, like, his face, if they saw it, it would be the face of the king of France.
Right, of course.
But of course, raised in the prison, he becomes virtuous and kind and sweet, where his brother becomes a corrupt tyrant. And
Sure.
then the Musketeers like have to do a princess swap situation, but it's like super intense. So it's not like the Princess Switch, because that's about like we're gonna have a fun holiday season.
So that
but-
was a Musketeer story.
I think the Musketeers pop up in it.
Oh wow! That's
but
fun.
you know what?
The
I
original
haven't read
crossover.
these, so I'm kind of going by what I remember by the Leo DiCaprio.
Yeah,
Man
the Leo
in Iron
DiCaprio.
Mask.
Yeah.
So they might have just like tossed D'Artagnan and the rest of the gang in there,
Right, as
and
like
maybe,
a little.
yeah. I
Little
couldn't really
Easter
tell you,
egg.
but Count of Monte Cristo is guy gets busted on bullshit charges, has a real bad prison bid. While he's in there, though, learns where secret Templar treasure is, gets out of escapes, and now armed with basically the national wealth of an entire country, he begins his revenge campaign against the people who imprisoned him. It goes fucking hard. It's real good. Point is, though, now imagine if instead of just getting Templar treasure, he unlocked the secret of the samurai. How cool would it be? Somebody pulls
Your
out a
dream.
little dueling rapier, and he's like, shink, katana, draw slice, blood flick. Everyone's like, whoa!
Oh shit.
Anyway. Luke writes, listening to your recent talk about portmanteau genre names like Metroidvania, the only other one I'm aware of is Soulsborne, which I think was mainly coined by folks who didn't like the mouthfeel of Souls-like. No, Patrick's clarified what those two things mean. Here are a few dumb portmanteaus that sprung to mind in light of your convo. Dead Spelunky games, roguelike platform.
Oh,
Dead Slunky. Da Vinci.
Sea of Echoes games, Western games drawing heavily from 16-bit JRPGs. I hate / love this one. Mega Manio Bros games. A really dumb way to say platformer.
oh my gosh.
That's
Also,
good.
the
That one
term
really hurts.
Metroidbrania
That's
isn't a
funny.
new coinage in the wake of Blueprints. I remember the term coming up a lot 5 or so years ago when Obra Dinn and
Yeah.
Outer Wilds were released.
Yep.
Does the term having a little more history make it any more palatable to you?
No, it's bad. It's bad. And
I
neither of those games fit.
I fear that. Well, obviously this is like an opinion thing, but like I fear that people are misconstruing having like what a genre is forming / has already formed. You can argue. I just don't think we've found like the best name for trying to convey what it is. But I think people are misattributing more games that are quote unquote Metroidbranias as see this name is like a good genre name. Like we have like A and A. We need to fill in the blanks, right? To borrow from what is that? This is the case of the Golden Idol. I fear with genre. We know these things are the same. Outer Wilds, Blueprints. Frankly, I haven't actually. I know Return to the Obra Dinn. I don't know if Obra Dinn fits there.
I don't think
in that?
Outer Wilds does either.
Wait. So you don't think any of it's right? We have it all wrong,
No,
Chia?
no,
They're all different. Just different
I don't
games
think
here?
Outer Wilds. I think Outer Wilds and Blueprints are drastically different.
Yeah, it's because of the rogue element.
There is no rogue element. The rogue element in Outer Wilds is knowledge. It's just
Yeah, there's no
knowing
rogue
things.
element.
There
That's
is
what I
no
mean, like, just
actual,
the rogue
What's
thing.
the difference between knowledge and a blue laser?
Well, the difference is so.
You know what I
okay.
mean? Like it unlocks
but
a door.
But Blueprints, the rogue element is also like rogue. Part of the rogue elements is randomization. It's not just repeatability and like going in a loop. It is also that every time you return to a thing, it's slightly changed, and so your knowledge base has to adapt to that, right? Like the
Also, you
roguelike, like Outer Wilds, not a roguelike at all. There's just a small time loop, and like that has to do with the Clockwork World like-ness of it, but it's not roguelike at all to me.
It's like Grun, which is also not.
Does do the roguelike thing. Like there's randomization and like what things you're gonna see, like and it pushes against the edges of that. But like I don't think that Outer Wilds or Obra Dinn, no, absolutely not. The no roguelike elements, not even looping in Obra Dinn.
Well, do you think that having the rogue elements like in Blueprints, does that make it like? Again, I know you don't like the term Metroidvania, which I don't either, but like just using that for a second, because as a just put the hat on, see how it fits, you know?
Yeah, it feels bad.
Do you think Blueprints then isn't in the same genre bucket as those games simply because of the rogue element? Because to me, it's just like it's more like Pepsi, Coke and Coke with lime, or Pepsi with lime, right? It's like it's still Pepsi. It's just like a worse Pepsi because it has lime, but it's different. Which is not that Blueprints is worse than Outer Wilds.
It's more like
just kinda...
Coke and Dr Pepper. They're like similar.
Oh my
they're
god,
they're both
so different.
But they're both dark
just dark colas
base. But yes, this is what I'm saying. But they taste very different. It's more of a, if anything, it's a subgenre, right? It's like the greater genre is like puzzle games. In a
sure,
sense, right? I think that is you can say these are all puzzle games. And
we can all agree.
Further down genre is puzzle roguelike. But people don't want to say puzzle roguelike for Blueprints for some reason, so they come up with Metroidbrania, where there's no Metroid elements to this game. Like there are none.
There's
roguelike elements, which like
well, I think you're critiquing the process. Like when this is I think it's part of Janet's point. Like this is part of the process. Is like how do you describe like people like it is something new, right? Like the most reductive form of that is a Balatro-like. That sucks. Like it's descriptive. It gets you there.
Wait, this Blueprints a Balatro-like?
No, just like
I'm
another
saying
example of like genre. Yeah,
like you start with the most reductive thing possible, which is the object, something that is like it. And like MetroidBrania is more abstraction of that, which is like we're taking like an existing like mashup of ideas, then something was stapled on top of it, but we don't have the right language to sort of describe it. So you do the most reductive thing possible, which is Metroidvania becomes itself its own genre, no longer like an easy descriptor. Thus, you have to then staple something else on top of it. So I think Metroidbrania, like calling Outer Wilds, and like I think it is applicable because you can see through lines between like. But I think what you're picking apart, Kato, is like, well, I'm mad that we don't have the final term yet. And I'm like, well, I think part of getting there is like unpacking why people are making the comparison in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit missing the forest for the trees in the Outer Wilds case, like the like looping nature of it, feeling like a structure that exists in Blueprints but doesn't in Outer Wilds. Like that's a very different thing to me. So like my brain is just like immediately rejects Metroidbrania as like
I don't think people are saying Metroid like they're both Metroidbranias because of the loop element. Like I don't think people are misconstruing loops as rogue. I think it's simply the going out, gathering knowledge, and then like executing a solution based on that gathered knowledge. Frankly, I wonder.
But what does that mean?
Well, not always,
yeah, like
because a lot of puzzle games can be just like if you play
game.
Picross, you're just like you're just in it or whatever, or
any
even like
any well-ramped puzzle game. Yeah, any well-ramped puzzle game though, even if you're doing the exact same thing from the beginning at the end you're doing harder versions of the same thing, and you're learning, you're gaining new knowledge through the patterns that you're recognizing in the earlier, easier levels. Right? It's still retaining knowledge and moving forward. Like that's puzzle games.
Yeah,
that's puzzle
design. Outer Wilds is
think...
also like you could like puzzle games and fucking hate Outer Wilds because you have to navigate a spaceship.
Because of the way that you navigate.
Could it be? Could the actual through line here be narrative? Because I get what you mean. On a technical level, when I play Portal, I am gaining knowledge and using that knowledge to progress because I learned how to shoot the portals. But so I'm like, okay, let me go back to the drawing board so that you'll still knock my tower down, but I want you to have a slightly harder time knocking the tower down until we one day have a tower that you're like, I guess I don't hate it. And I'll say, that's great. That's that's almost like you liking it.
The tower's good enough for me to go finish Despelote. I feel complete.
But is the narrative, because that's kind of where these games actually feel like they have more in common with walking sim than Metroid game. Because I think Metroid, such a key part of Metroid is the map. Is the map and the map log. And you don't have those things in either of those games. So I think that is also a big missing core component. It's also why most Metroidvanias are 2D, because of, again, leaning into that map of like you're staring at it and you zoom out and you're like, what's there? And then you go and da-da-da. Yeah, but I mean, Blueprints, I know there is a narrative and it's definitely like very prominent. I don't think it's as forward with its narrative as like Outer Wilds, where it's like Outer Wilds, you're like positioned as you are going out on this like excursion and you have like this home planet that it's like a whole, it's much more like in your face. But I wonder if that's like the kind of different component. And yes, your Portal also has an incredible story, but I'm not exploring the story. I'm engaging with the puzzles, and the story is drip fed to me almost as a treat for my engagement of like, you passed a level, you get a little narrative bit, little joke from Gladys, cool. And then you keep going. Yeah. While Outer Wilds, like, on a technical level, you do need to read some of those slabs to solve those puzzles, right? Because they give you information on like how the world functions. But sometimes it's just like the hot goss, Yeah. Which Blueprint's kind of same deal.
Yeah, yeah.
Gossip puzzles.
Hot goss. I absolutely agree that like the big thing for me, the thing that made Outer Wilds stand out was its integration of its narrative to the way that it like gives information, and how affecting that overall narrative was. Like, it was deeply like meaningful to me to play through that game and like have the experience I had with it. Where Blueprints, I feel like, doesn't do as good of a job interacting, putting those two things together, and part of the issue with it is just the rogue structure of like, you start to lose the threads on plot when you've had to do a certain amount of runs to like set up a certain
and you're like, who is this? Is this Dave? Like, just like
again, like, it's still in there, but it's just like because of the way that it plays out, it's harder to like set those through lines, like make those through lines like as elegant, I guess. But like there
Lorelai
are the
also
sickos out
has
there
a
with
big-
the full like family tree, like in their notebook, like figuring out who's who and all that. Like you can do that sort of thing, but it's a little more self-directed, I think, in Blueprints.
Lorelai is also positioned in that way as well, as being a very like.
I need to
Yeah,
know the
you
full
really need
thing
to
so I
play
can like
it.
because maybe that'll unlock something of like I see what people are saying about these two connections, because right now to me Outer Wilds and Blueprints feel like in different universes, because of the way that they present their puzzles and structure, and I wouldn't even put them in the same genre. Aside from
I think there
the
are types.
overall
I think when you
genre
go
of
to that,
puzzle.
I think when you go to the genre Coca-Cola machine at the AMC theater,
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
click that little bubble, you're seeing Blueprints, you're seeing Outer Wilds, you're
Yes.
seeing like these different ones. And sure, you might look
And
at
everyone
that,
else
and
is
I'm trying to think
seeing
what's in there.
soda.
Yeah, like it's like you're like, oh, these are just sodas. I'm like, no, this is like when you click into the Coca-Cola tab,
Wow.
you're seeing these games. I don't know about Obra Dinn because I honestly I know what that game is.
That is wild. That I don't understand the connection
I don't.
there. To
From
me.
what I know about Obra Dinn, which is maybe is admittedly a very incomplete understanding because I've seen the gameplay a little bit and I know the general thing. I don't put that in that bucket from what I know because it's just like a
That's
deduction.
a detective game.
It's
there's no.
it's closer to Case of the Golden Idol, just
Right.
At least in terms of being like a deduction detective-y game kind of thing.
I haven't.
Which I don't know if I'd put those together in genre, but it's like I don't put it with Outer Wilds and Blueprints and
It just
Lorelei.
happened. I think it was like nearby and like released to Outer Wilds, and there's like a small like interesting puzzle games moment happening. Because it's like, I haven't played Golden Idol.
It does
so,
have a
like, I don't know
narrative
that-
kind of angle to it, though,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
wonder because
yeah.
that's the thing. I'm like, are we mistaking exploration? Are we seeing exploration and saying, you know what this reminds me of? Metroidvania, because like in Metroidvania, I explore and I go around and I come back to a place. And are we like so focused on that we
It
forgot
actually betrays
that one of the other
poverty
connective points
imagination and experience.
is narrative?
Yeah, it's the boss baby thing. It's like this is
I
giving,
think it's.
this is
I
giving
think
What's
it's
this
a little
boss
bit of
baby
boss
thing?
baby thing.
Wait, what
I
is
think
this
it's a
boss
little
baby
bit of
thing?
boss baby thing.
the
You've
tweet
never
is-
seen the boss baby
baby
memes?
The tweet.
No, I don't remember
Guy
this.
who's
I
only
probably
ever
have seen.
Boss Baby, seeing another movie. This is giving Boss Baby
is-
vibes.
Oh, okay. I think I've probably seen the jokes based on this joke.
Yeah.
Again, this is another genre problem. I've seen the genre of joke. I don't think I
Mm-hmm.
knew that this was like this is giving Boss Baby. Yeah, a little bit, and it's more of the I guess like it's harder to deduce because I don't have the answer, so I can't position this as like an easy question because I don't even have the answer to it. But it's kind of like the horse hooves thing, right? The like is it zebra or horses? This isn't as black and white as that because it's not like I don't think there's a logical. Oh, it's a new genre. It's clearly not going to be Metroidvania based. But I just think that people seem very attached to the exploration element, and I wonder if there's more than like the idea of backtracking of like walking backwards in a room. Like that is part of what you do in Metroidvania, but that's not. There's other associations that ruin, I think, the Metroidbrania definition because it's missing the map focus. It's missing the like ability to like execute in certain ways. Like it's just kind of a different. It's a little too different,
The,
but
like,
I know how people got there.
gain and things like that. Like
Yeah,
I don't know,
though blueprints you do have, but you don't keep them either because it's like I
Right.
guess like could you even have a Metroidvania that's a rogue? I would say no. I think
No, not this is the thing. I think those
'Cause
two
it's all
things
about
are in
progression.
conflict.
Yeah.
yeah, because like the whole thing is it has to be a static map that you're running back through with new equipment. Like there are moments in fucking Jedi Survivor that are more Metroid-like than any of the
Yeah.
other games that we've been talking about. Where
And
like,
it having a
I've
bad
got this
map,
new
that
ability.
feels
I
very
played Dead
Metroid.
Cells. That's like individualized Metroidvania experience on a run.
that is
Yeah.
true.
Not a static map. Changes every time.
right? But this
what
is
is
the thing.
on
This is,
requires
this is where I would
upgrades,
push back.
elements.
The upgrade elements does strike it, and like something about like just the classic
Roguelike
2D,
Metroidvania inspired is what it said. Which I
Right.
think that's the other thing too. Like
I don't, but
almost
like,
like
breaks out of that genre convention
Yes.
for me because of its structure.
I feel like almost like composition. Like you can have components of things that are seen in other spots, but that doesn't mean they are that genre.
Right.
And I think like Dead Cells, and this is just like the Steam page, which again, I'm sure they worked hard on. You work hard on making everything when you're promoting a game, but I think the term Metroidvania inspired seems very like a very tactful pull because it's acknowledging the ways that those elements can inform design. It's kind of back to Kyle Hilliard's banger line of, is it a Metroidvania or is it just good game design? Which is really funny that he said that. Because I think, yeah, it's kind of in that vein, but obviously it's pulling those elements, but that doesn't mean that it's necessarily that. But I don't know. It is fun, though, being in this in-between of... It's almost like school, right? Education is always behind reality. Right. And eventually they're like, now we have courses on this job that's existed for like 10 years because we finally have enough people that can like inform it. I think this is the same. Like we weren't going to come out the gate with, you know, the right term. I just think that like we're quick to land on Metroidbrania and I feel like we should explore it a bit more. Can
I toss something maybe rancid into the mix?
Oh,
I'd love that.
Ish writes, I'm writing regarding the conversation on episode 95 about doubly eponymous genres like Metroidvania. I want to share that for many years, I've been calling what many people describe as character action games Devil Mayonetta games, after DMC and Bayonetta. Well, not really super close to each other. They both serve as iconic seminal works in the space, and to me, both deserve to fit into the genre name. Devil Mayonetta.
Devil Mayonetta.
Like, we didn't talk about this the last time in the conversation, but we've dropped the word clone. But I mean, the origins of this stuff is the 90s having
the clone
Doom
turned into the
clones.
like.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like that's what everything.
Alexa bougie clone, gentrified clone.
That's what everything was. That's what with Heretic. Like everything that all came in the wake of Doom in the 90s. Were like it was for the you had, and they were called Doom clones. Like that was the phrase we used to describe. It
was a great
Maybe
point,
we called them Mario clones as well, but I don't remember that being part of the vernacular. Like PC gamer, computer gaming world, like they were
like mascot platformer was the big term, I think, for that.
Right, and that becomes a descriptor as opposed to like a like Doom clone, which like describes a what it is, like but that's it's pejorative as opposed to
it's like how we've gone from saying bootleg to dupe. It's like I don't know, but no, which again I think those do have negative connotations. But Chia, you were gonna say something.
Well, just like sometimes they were literally like using the same like code base though, right? Like or like people would like edit Doom to like.
Well, I mean, Doom had an engine that was like, you know what I mean? Like so, I'm not sure that if it looks like Doom, if it quacks like Doom because you use Doom's engine, I don't know. That's it's the clone part came from games caching in on people who like Doom was popular. We made a what we'd call a Doom-alike, but then it's just a
Doom-alike.
Doom first Doom popularizes like the first-person shooter, and then it suddenly becomes like, oh right,
Doom-alike is a rapper that tries to sound like MF Doom.
Really? Does he wear the mask?
Yeah.
No, I don't like that. I think too, it's funny because there's a lot of pushback on like maybe creating genre at all. It's like, why can't we just say, why do we have to put a label on things? It's like, but I do think there's something to be said about, there is like those kinds of games where you do always bring up like 2 games where like to the Devil Netta element, the amount of times people have said it's like Devil May Cry or like Infinite. And it's like, yeah, we don't have like a cute thing for that, but like people are making like those comparisons because just it's one of the easiest ways to conceptualize something because it's like, cool, if you have the shared experience that I have, you now immediately know what I'm talking about. Right. Granted, our job is to like scaffold that with the additional stuff of like, it's like this if you played this, and then you have to explain it in case they didn't, because I fear that's the job. But I think need is strong, but there's benefit because as more things get added into the space, like the buckets and the lanes like do kind of, I think, form.
Yeah. Last question here. Just an interesting one. Seth writes, I read with great sympathy Patrick and Rob's article about tinnitus from mid-April. I've been living with tinnitus for a few years now, and funnily enough, I'm pretty sure I know precisely how I got it.